Hello. COVID sucks. But anyways, I'm gonna got everything done. The animals are fine, and now I'm settling down for my 18-hour nap. Just it's a draining. Marcel came and helped in there, and Peanut got up for a little bit today and helped with the cats, and got a lot of stuff disinfected and stuff in the house. But this COVID crap, man, it's like you feel like you're stroking out, or it's hard to focus one eye. It's just like some shit, Holmes. But anyways, I've been vaccinated, so I should be okay. This is like day 7 something. But not trying to beat a dead horse. There's some things I never said, but it's for the talking about corruption in the county. Let me predicate this with there's a lot of good sheriffs, a lot of good detectives, a lot of good whatever. There's a lot of good people in the administration, honest, decent folks, and I've browbeat the world about the corruption that I've done. But the first time I've experienced this, and just this is just to share the irony of trying to build a rescue in small town politics in a corrupt with a lot of corrupt, ugly people that have power and want to throw it around because they have nothing else but the power to look towards within. I'm not judging. I don't know the way they do it, but my cousin Roy Dean Hemphill back in 2012. I bought this place in 2008 specifically to do this because the county said I could, and on and on and on. But in 2012, he's our Vietnam War hero. And it was on the gunboats like John Kerry, and I'd always, whether in the desert or wherever, he'd fly in. And when he was on the island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, when that huge earthquake was killing everybody with the tidal waves, I had the State Department was looking for him. He was in the Philippines safe, But he'd always get lost somewhere in the world, doing heating and air conditioning wherever, next to wherever there was a hot spot in the world. He had more ribbons than anything. But in 2012, he came to his family in Texas. He had cancer and he was dying. And so, nobody's allowed to drink and use on the property. And so, I went and represented our side of the family, drove to Texas to see him. And while I was there, when I saw him, we laughed about a few things. And an hour later, after I got to see him, I went in there and I told him he was the bravest guy I knew. About an hour later, he crashed. We laughed about the time when he came home from Vietnam. During one of his tours, we went up to Oak Glen and Apple Country, and he had this car. It was brand new. It was a Chevrolet. Unless you're a Vato, it was a Chevy. And, it had this tick on it. And I remember I was 10 and he was 20 something, And he was all like, do you hear the tick, Herb? He starts cussing. He's tripping on this tick. And I'm like, kid, I'm like 10, 11, whatever. Yeah, Deanie, I hear the tick. Well, that goddamn, starts, it's all about the tick, And then that tick, He was like nutting up on it. And, so I was like going to help him, because dude was freaking out about this tick, So I was telling him about that, and he started laughing. We started laughing. I could still hear it. This is on his deathbed. An hour later, he crashes, and he died that night. Out of all the times and all the things, I drive to Texas and make it there to visit with him for an hour, tell him he's the bravest guy I know, and that tick. So anyways, back to the corruption I was telling you about. While I was there, Tina, the love of my life, she was an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. But I've been in recovery since 93, and since I was gone, she was in good hands with Big D and everything. Before that, we had pressed charges on this lady, Brittany, who stole some checks, and we went over to the sheriff's station and pressed charges, and this detective was there, and we went in, saw him, and presented everything, and the printouts, and he needed a warrant, for the printouts and authorization and this and that. And so we did. So, anyways, while I'm in Texas, he comes over to get more information about the case that Brittany H did, and she ended up going to jail for it and everything. And but I called while I was, driving to and from Texas. I love T. She's the love of my life. And anyways, she sounded funny. I'm like, shit, she's drinking again. And she never could make great choices when she's drinking. I guess that's why she ended up here. I don't know. I love her. When she was straight, God rest her soul, there's nothing angel. And I'm not slamming her, don't get me wrong. Anyway, she goes, the detective's coming over. I want to make sure the place is clean and everything's good. And, the animals and, because she was always showing off the rescue. But I was worried, but no worries. Big D was here and everything was good. He was a cop that ended up in the evidence room because he had hurt his back and he had done some time, and I did an ad, and he wonderful man. And he ended up staying sober, and he has a ministry in West Virginia now. Just a really good friend. But anyways, T sounded funny. And so, okay, so I called back a little, like, few hours later, and she says the detective's here, and she still sounded funny, and she goes, I gotta go, he needs to ask questions. So anyways, so the Rockingham County detective that we went to is interviewing a victim about charges, about the case, or getting some signatures, because she was in the accounts and all, and she was our vice president at the time, and we were a couple, and we were doing the deal. Well, anyways, Deanie dies, and I stop off at my friend Steve Luckerman and Kathy and see the kids, and he shows me his guns. It's Texas, and I love guns, whatever. And so, anyways, I get the call that Dean had passed away, and it was heartbreaking. But I got to see him, and it was like a God shot. So, anyways, I drive back from Texas, give Steve and everybody a hug and a kiss, and we head on, and Steve Leckerman, great people. They're in Arizona now selling RVs. But anyway, so, I get back, and D's there. Was the manager, and T was the vice president, and, anyway, so I go in, and, everything's fine. And he had gotten back from a venue or whatever. And I had just got back from Texas, and T's in here, and she's, greets me. Everybody's happy. I'm back and all that. But she had been drinking. And I was like, God dang it. I hope it's not bad this time. If anybody's an alcoholic or deals with alcoholism, it's that kind of disease. So anyways, it's been a long drive, so I go to sleep and everything. And I get up and, late, and not in the morning, but late at night. And she's asleep and everything, and the phone starts dinging. It was my phone too. It was our phones. She had one, I had one. It wasn't like we had nothing to hide or whatever. And it starts, notice, and open it up, and this dude, whomever it was sending pictures of his thing, like the wiener did to that one girl. But these were pictures of his, twanger. And while the detective was over here, Tina had been drinking, and she's always frisky, sadly, and goes into blackouts or whatever. This Rockingham County Sheriff's detective that we went to for help because we were robbed comes across a victim that happens to be inebriated, rapes her, whatever, and then sends pictures of his dick to her. I'm furious. I see this, and not about that, just, about that. I'm trying to say this politically correct. So here this son of a bitch fucking comes over here to get more information about a case, has sex with my girlfriend while I'm in Texas, seeing my dying fucking cousin, and then later on has the nerve to send pictures of his dick to her on my phone. Yeah, this isn't for children. So, anyways, the next day morning, business thing comes. I say, D, you're an ex-cop. What the fuck? What the hell? What the hell? You know, and he's, yeah, that's way wrong. And I go, yeah. And so I go marching over with the phone. He's asleep, of course, and it's early. And I go, I want to talk to an honest cop. And I start showing I go, I don't want to talk to a detective. I want an honest cop. So, anyways, hand them the phone. They see the pictures and they see the text between he and T can bear. It's like Kofefi, when, whatever. But, anyways, God bless her. That's the disease of alcoholism. People make horrible choices while inebriated. So, anyways, the sheriffs come over, detectives, nice, wonderful people, Detective Howell and another fella. They come over and they interview her and stuff like that, and they take all the information and go back. And I get a call and saying that what he did was inappropriate, but not illegal. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. So, T, we sober up and everything, and I love her, man. When she's straight, there was nobody better. For me, we just got along, and it was just wonderful. But that demon alcohol comes, and it makes crazy people drive drunk, kill people, all kinds of horrific choices. So, anyways, they said it was very inappropriate, and they're going to be dealing with this guy, but there was nothing criminal. Okay, nothing criminal, but very inappropriate. I figured he was fired. Whatever. So, during that time, we get on with the community service people and everything, and time marches forward. And a year or two, and this was in 2012. And a year or two later, I have to meet Carol Leach, who does the community service thing over in the courthouse. And I'm thinking this guy's history, right? And I go in there, and she's in the courtroom. I go in there. It's about, I needed paper. She needed a paper for a lady there, or somebody they were going to violate if she didn't do the community service, and they had. And I go there and I look on the stand, and there's this son of a bitch testifying in a case, still a Rockingham County Sheriff's detective, testifying about some other deal. And I look at Carol Leach and I go, that's asshole raped my girlfriend and sent pictures of his dick to her on our phone. And I'm in shock. And there's just a few people left in the courtroom. It's towards the end. So I go out there and I'm waiting for him. Well, he snuck out the other door, man. That's when God saves me from myself. Yeah. So anyways, it's just not an old guy ranting. This is just the tip of the iceberg of the corruption I've had to deal with, the administration. Now, mind you, there are wonderful sheriff's detectives. There are wonderful sheriffs. It's like, the one guy killing somebody that just taints everything. So anyways, but apparently it's okay with Sam Page that people like that are on his, on his payroll, or taxes paid for detectives like that. So anyways, when the county, and, Craig Travis was over here with Melissa, given the counties away. Oh, there's block grants, there's these grants and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah. So they violate me for a zoning ordinance that they didn't have when I first bought this place, and on and on. You all know that story. Everybody knows Craig Travis called me up. So I bring that up at that meeting about all the stuff. Now, Craig and I, we're tight. I thought, I had no problem with him. And so I literally bring that stuff up at this meeting when the honest county attorney said that it was their fault, So, they were talking about letting me have a place behind the new shelter. I said, yeah, but, they said, well, we can't have any, you'll have to fund it all. And I said, well, and Craig and I we're cool up until this point. I said, well, what about the grants, that stuff Mr. Travis was talking about when he came over with his gal Melissa and talked about how wonderful we were and everything. What about them? Or how can I apply for those? Would those help? Because everybody, just the corrupt neighbors or the bad neighbors that got on the planning commission and targeted my rescue with this silly ordinance. I said, well, what about those? And they said, well, there's really not. And I go, well, he told me about that, and I wasn't being shitty. I was just saying, well, what about those? That would help. It's your fault. That would help buffer the sting of me after 7 years building this place and then going there. The next day, that's when Craig and I had a problem. He calls me up, starts yelling at me over the phone. This is the first one. It wasn't when he threatened. Now, he lied to Joe Dexter about that. But anyways, he calls me up. We're not going to give you this. And I got a little emotional at the meetings. And you started crying. I heard you started crying at that meeting like I'm a puss or something. 7 years out of your life, I'm sitting around with all these officials, putting my heart and soul into something. And not only blood and sweat, but my dollars too. And so now I got this, and that's when I went off. Oh, he was just saying that to impress Melissa so he could have sex with her. Seriously. So now I got this Rockingham County Sheriff's Detective having sex with a drunk victim, sending pictures of his dick to her. I have this county commissioner just lying through his teeth just so he could get laid, and on and on and on. So anyways, I just hung up, and that's when I went, and then he started, Craig Travis, oh, pray for me, he's a victim. Bullshit. Okay, so now we're to there. So anyways, then after a year or so later, they tried to switch in 2015, the ordinance. They got caught trying to change it. Everybody went there, and then they dropped it. So everybody thinks, okay, we're all grandfathered in. They came out to grandfather me. Then they said, you aren't grandfathered because I didn't get the permit they said they didn't have for what we do. And even after every inspection and everything, and all the code enforcement says, you're good, keep building, yada, yada, yada. So now my neighbor gets on the planning commission, targets my rescue. Now, this is the irony of the corruption, and not all of them, just a couple, and the nepotism. So I get this citation, and then next thing you know, see Ron Perkins when the people that wrote the ordinance were my judges. Of course, they found me, in violation, right? Now I have Tanya Cottle lying to me, saying it's not my animals that's the problem, it's the business. Well, come to find out, my business could still be here, and the animals I have on the property don't matter. So Ron was, he has community service people, like somehow I'm supposed to. Here's what the community service people do. They mow the yards, they fill gravel, and they pull weeds for our soup kitchen. There's no benefit or monetary value other than helping feed homeless people and help homeless animals. It's not a profit to pocket thing. That's the thing, So anyways, the sheriff's department, they said that because I had this zoning violation, that we're not good enough for them in their justice department to send people here to do community service. That's the irony. It's okay for a Rockingham County Sheriff's Detective to come across a drunk victim, rape or have consensual drunken sex with her, send pictures of his twanger to her, but because I got a $75 violation and a zoning violation that they used to target my rescue, and I paid a $40 permit and got everything corrected, planted the hedge, did the artistic drawing, and on and on. So now others, lawyers in other counties send people, and schools and colleges send people to work with the animals to do their community service. But our group, our nonprofit, permitted, nothing changed, animal rescue. they won't send people here to do their community service because Ron Perkins complained. Think of the irony. It's okay to do all that sex stuff and send pictures of your dick, to drunk girls, but let's harass a nonprofit. That's the irony. It's okay for Sam Page to have this guy on his payroll that our taxes pay for his service. But oh no, don't send community service people over to a guy that helps homeless animals and grows food for the soup kitchen because he's in violation of a zoning ordinance. Yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg. Tomorrow, part 2. See, that's all going in the book. And, Dr. Shropshire, she comes out. That's like towards the end, overcoming corruption and nepotism. And there's a lot of good people in this county that deserves better. And there's a lot of victims that deserve better. And, right now they're struggling with the county shelter because they don't care. Brittany cares, Ashton cares, but the people that are in charge, they actually wanted, is what, word of mouth, and what somebody that was going there says, that somebody had a neglect and abuse violation. HR was trying to sweat everybody to hire that person. So, there's some stuff that needs to be cleaned up in this county. Mr. Berger, he's honest. Mr. Hall, he's got animals in his office. Wonderful people. I might not agree with them politically, but I know they're honest, decent people. But it just is the irony that a detective like that can do what he did and still remain on the force, and yet, and that's okay. But that Herb guy out there, he had a zoning violation that he corrected, and I asked Sam Page to get it reinstated. He never would call me back. Each week, I call him 2 or 3 times a week. No call back, but he'll sit there and shake your hand, because they don't want it reinstated. But yet, that's the irony. Even though we're perfectly legal, that's the corruption I've had to deal with. I just had to get that out in case this COVID stuff goes bad. I think I'll be okay. I know I'll be okay. I will be okay. But I just thought I'd share a little bit of that. That's going to be in the book. It's going to be a fun book. Anyways, and I'll tell you how who gave Craig Travis the stuff when he called me up that time, said I was out here giving my people drugs and raping them women. Yeah, that's part 2. Anyways, love for all. Late morning zen. I'm going to take a nap.